Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Canada. I hope all of you have had a good week and I hope your weekends are off to a great start. Everybody in this class, we're looking at IELTS writing. Specifically, we're looking at task 2, and this task 2 is about the topic of robot helpers and the benefits and negatives of these robot helpers in work and at home. Now, this was actually a question, or a very similar question, on a recent IELTS exam just in the last couple months. So, excuse me. So this is what you would have seen in certain places had you sat the IELTS in the last little bit. And we will go over this task 2 question in detail and write a high band essay for this. This is a members chat class, everybody. To join the chat, you have to be a channel member. You click the join button next to the subscribe button. Welcome, Domenico. Hi, Fuang. Habibe, Angel. Nice to see many members in the class. Hi, Elizabeth. Malad, good to have you here. Amra and Carolina, nice to have our chat moderators with us as well. This lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Check us out there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live classes. They have all of our full videos with no advertising, our strategies and tips, our practice exams. For task 2 writing, they're very similar for academic and general. The questions are a little bit different, but the format is very much similar. In both cases, you are writing a persuasive essay. So you're basically writing a kind of argument type essay, if you will. You're convincing your audience of your ideas. So that is the goal of task 2. Our academic website looks like this. It's got this blue background. You can click this big red button that's just right above my head there, and you click that and you are good to go. You make payment. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. I'm a certified British Council agent. You're in great hands with us. We are world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam preparation. You can read our students' success stories. We are so proud of all of these beautiful people who have finished our course, done the IELTS, passed the IELTS, and most of them, maybe all of them, are now in universities and countries abroad doing what they wish. So good for them, and hopefully you will become a part of our community. This is our general IELTS website here with the green background. Again, you can click that big red button there that's just right above my head. And when you do that, students, today, you can use this code NOVEL9 for an extra 10% discount off the price. Check the cost in your local region. It's different in different countries to make it accessible for people worldwide. And again, it's just a single payment for lifetime access, so quite worth it, and lots of great learning to be had. All right, students, we do have apps for you, of course. It's 2023. So the app Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. These apps will link to the websites, and you can learn on the go. Check out our blogs. I still have this one from yesterday, the speaking. We did that speaking class yesterday, but of course there are task 2 writing blogs as well, so check those out. There are lots of sample task 2 essays on the website in the blog also. And on Instagram, you'll find vocabulary and other useful tips to improve for your writing, as well as other parts of IELTS. So check out IELTS_AE Help, GIELTS Help. and follow us there also. Emails, if you have questions, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. And then, of course, we've got writing and speaking services on the website, and you can get our books from Amazon. AE Helps Academic IELTS and GE Helps General IELTS. Students, we've got writing right now. We're going to write this essay, and then after this class we'll have reading for subscribers. So subscribe to our YouTube channel, it's free, and then you can join the next live class, which is a subscribers chat class. We do one of those each week to encourage our viewers to subscribe so that they get some structured learning throughout the week. We have this video for you right now that you can watch on the YouTube channel. It's a newer video, and I will be posting a brand new video later today. Some of you, it will be tomorrow. And that video will be a Band 9 candidate who basically repeats his Band 9 speaking interview for you. It's a very good video. He's a very clever guy. He actually got Band 9 overall on his IELTS exam, and he's not a native speaker. So that video will be coming later today. Keep an eye out for that. That's going to be really good for learning, and also to recognize that you can get a Band 9 overall even as a non-native speaker, okay, on the IELTS exam. Okay, let's jump into this task 2 question. We'll read it. So IELTS writing task 2, you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. More and more tasks at home and at work are being done by robots. Do you think this is a positive or negative development? Discuss both and give your own opinion. Use explanations and examples from your own experience. Write at least 250 words. Again, this is a question that came up on IELTS, or a very similar question came up on IELTS just recently. So these are the kinds of questions you see. You could see this question in the academic IELTS, and you could also easily see this question in the general IELTS. So some questions like this one could be on either test for task 2. So think about what this is asking you. The best way to start thinking about it is to paraphrase. Just write down the question using your own words. Okay, while you start that, I'm going to wish you good luck, Domenico, on your exam, and thank you for sending me your blessings there. I appreciate that. Okay, so paraphrase the question. So that you can get a better idea of what you actually need to do here. Okay, paraphrasing the question helps you think about the question. It's not necessarily the start to your essay. All right, that's a very simple form of writing. So just be really careful, students. A lot of the advice that you see on the internet and in YouTube videos is for very, very basic writing. Okay, and very basic writing in the IELTS exam leads to a band 6 or maybe even lower. Okay, for those higher band scores like band 7, 8, 9, you do have to produce a grade 12 first year college kind of level essay. You can make mistakes, but the structure and the information, the content has to be a higher level. It can't be a middle school level of writing. Okay, so paraphrase the question for clarity and for vocabulary. Okay, like this. Okay, an increasing number of errands are being done by machines at the job and in the house. Okay, so that should paraphrase more and more tasks at home and at work are being done by robots. Okay, do you believe that this is a benefit or a deficit for people. Okay, and to be more accurate, I'm going to say, do you believe that this progress, so the word development we can paraphrase as progress. Okay, development, progress. So do you believe that this progress is a benefit or deficit for people? Okay. Shed light on both perspectives. While including your own position. Okay. Apply explanations and experiences from your life. Okay. So there's my paraphrase. Now at home when you're practicing, okay, practicing at home is a little bit different than the official IELTS. In the official IELTS, you have 40 minutes, so you have to be very step by step. You need to have very clear direction so that you can finish your essay in the 40 minutes. To do that at home, you have to practice with some extra steps so that you can be quick and accurate and clear and write at a high level. One of these steps is when you paraphrase like this, you should always read the original and read your paraphrasing to see if it makes sense. Make sure you don't need to do any extra corrections. So let's do that. More and more tasks at home and at work are being done by robots. Do you think this is a positive or negative development? And everybody watching, not just members in the chat, please repeat and read with me. Okay, so repeat me and read with me as much as possible. All right, so discuss both and give your own opinion. Use explanations and examples from your own experiences. Write at least 250 words. Okay, an increasing number of errands are being done by machines at the job and in the house. Do you believe that this progress is a benefit or deficit for people? Shed light on both perspectives while including your own position. Apply explanations and experiences from your life. Write a minimum of 250 words. Okay, keep that in mind. Band 7 to 9 essays are closer to 300 words or even more. Okay, keep that in mind, everybody, as we move along. All right. MTJ is asking, what do you do when you do not have enough ideas for essays? Let's stop on that for a second, because that's exactly what we will do in just a moment, is think about some ideas. What should you do? I've mentioned strategies in the past. So MTJ is asking this. Okay. Domenico, definitely share with us your score once you have it, okay? So MTJ is saying, or asking, what do you do when you don't have enough ideas for the essays? Which is also called writer's block. So what do you do when you have writer's block, right, MTJ? That's the question here. What can you do? Okay. And this is a good question, so the answer here is very important. There are more, there's more than one step, okay? Anahita says, think about experiences from your own situation. Okay, yeah, so visualize, okay, see the content, and think of your own experiences. So okay, so visualize, see the content, think of your own experiences to get better ideas. Sure. Okay, great. So Anahita, Let's take that one step further. So what are excuse me, what are some common situations where robots are doing housework? Okay, so what are some common situations? I can definitely think of a couple right away. MTJ, you should not use contractions in professional communication. I've said that a lot. So you should use do not. Okay, Amra says a robot vacuum cleaner. Okay, Amra, do you have a robot vacuum cleaner? I think they're called Roomba, the most popular brand, right? I don't have one of those, but I do have a vacuum cleaner, which is kind of a robot as well. Do you have one, Amra? Do you have a robot vacuum cleaner? Anahita says a laundry machine. Okay. Okay, Habibe says, I have one and it saves time. Amra says, yes, I do have one, so that's why it's the first one that popped into my mind. Okay, so okay, great. It saves time. Very good, Habibe. So your robot vacuum cleaner saves time. Okay, now let's take this one step further, right? So we should follow this with a question, and you should visualize it, okay? So let me ask you this. So Habibe and Amra, they have a robot vacuum cleaner that's helping them in the house. It's saving them time. What should you do when you're thinking or when you're visualizing this robot vacuum cleaner? What should you do? Miles says it's really good if you have pets too. Yeah. So thinking a step-by-step process is a very important tip for the IELTS, okay? Well, it's a very important tip for school, university, and life, but definitely for the IELTS as well, and it's especially important for timed exams where you have time constraints, so you have to be very productive, right? You have to have one step in front of the next. So this is an important tip. Always apply a logical, systematic thinking pattern to your IELTS exam. Okay. So here we said, okay, to kind of, step one, or first step one, let's call it one. I have writer's block, so I visualize. I see my Roomba robot vacuum cleaner cleaning my house. Step two. Okay, it's kind of like a flow chart here. So the way you should be doing this is step one, of course, flows into step two, and then step two flows into step three. So what should you do here? Anahita says, ask why and how am I using it? So Anahita, you're right. You're using a bit of critical thinking, and we kind of got to that. It's saving me time, right? So Habibe said this, it's saving me time. Okay. All right. Now, what do you see? Okay. So let me help you a little bit here to really train your critical thinking. What are you actually seeing? Okay, seeing and really seeing, those are two different concepts. So here we have this, we have Amra's house. okay, or Habibe's house with their robot vacuum cleaner. Okay, here's a big carpet. Okay, here's the Roomba, and it's swishing around. Okay, so it's moving around. Give him a fireplace here with a chimney. All right, so we see the Roomba. What's going on? Habibe says it sweeps and mops the house instead of me. Sure, that's fine, Habibe. So it's cleaning the house. But what else should you be seeing? Okay, good. Amra, very nice. That's exactly what I was looking for. So Amra says, at the same time, I'm helping my younger brother with his studies instead of doing the vacuuming. So okay. Now keep the question. So this was what I was thinking about. And Amra, very nice. I can see, Amra, that you're really adopting and adapting the kind of thinking that I'm teaching in these classes. And this is what I want everybody else to do. Okay. So Amra's thinking, well, what am I doing with that time, right? So what am I doing? So he sees the image clearly, right? And so what Amra is saying is like, okay, guys, well, I definitely see the house, and I see the Roomba moving around, but also importantly, I see myself helping my younger brother at his desk with his studies. Okay, during that time. Okay, now, is this a positive or a negative? Okay, is that a positive or negative use of time? All right, so we're going to take a little different approach here today. The other way you can, MTJ, that you can help writer's block is think about what, why, how, right? So Miles says this is clearly a positive. All right, step 3. Ask the opposite. Think about the question. Can the time be used negatively? So the question here is, can Amra use the extra time in a negative way? Obviously, many of you, I think, will figure out yes. He could be sitting in front of the TV drinking beer. Okay, so he's sitting in front of the TV drinking beer and eating chips. Now, some people might be saying, hey, that's not negative. That's a positive. Well, yes, as long as you're not doing it every day, right? Amra is laughing about that one. I don't think you're the type of person, Amra, but you could be, right? So clearly, that's a negative, right? Okay. Okay, and Domenico says that would be a sedentary lifestyle. Okay, Habibe says the disadvantage could be it can help people be lazier and be passive. Okay, Amra says no, sir, I don't consume beer. I would guess not, Amra. I can tell you're a very focused individual. So the concept of whether robots helping humans in work and at home, whether it's a positive or negative, really kind of depends on what people do with the time and the energy, right? So here now, MTJ, when you're able to visualize and you take situations from your own life, so Anahita says it could also be the washing machine, right? Then we very quickly realize that there are great benefits to robots working in the house and at the job, because they allow us to use our time for other endeavors, right? So robots free time and energy for humans that allow people to spend that energy in either positive or negative ways. All right, so now I'm starting to figure out the answer. Now here, did I answer the question? Okay, always think about the original question. So here's the original task 2 question. It's a good time to review for everybody who's joining in right now. More and more tasks at home and at work are being done by robots. Do you think this is a positive or negative development? Discuss both and give your own opinion. Use explanations and examples from your own experiences. Okay. So far, our answer includes robots free time and energy for humans that allow people to spend that energy and time in either a positive or negative ways. Okay. So this is kind of part of my thesis now, right? So this is part of my argument. Do I have the whole task 2 question answered in this thesis yet, students? MTJ is saying, should I give examples for extra words? It's not about extra words, MTJ. It's about good writing, and you should definitely give examples in the body paragraphs. So, am I answering this task 2 question completely so far? Okay. Fong says nope. What am I missing? Angel says no too. Good. There's something missing here. What's missing? There's a piece missing here. All right. It's my perspective. So anytime the question is asking, discuss both and give your own opinion, right? Okay. Yes, exactly, Amra. We haven't stated our opinion yet here. So we need to make sure that we state that opinion. So this is just a general statement, right? Robots free time and energy for humans that allow people to spend that energy and time in either positive or negative ways. Overall, I do believe that machine assistance is a positive progress. This is where I can use some of that vocabulary from my paraphrasing, right? So overall, I do believe that machine assistance is a positive progress. And we can say both at work and in the home. Okay. So now I have my complete thesis. I can visualize it and I have my complete thesis. Why do I say that? So why do I say that overall it's a positive progress? What do you think? So what am I thinking about here to make that statement that I think it's good? You should never write it depends. So a lot of students write, I think this development, so I think whether or not this is a positive or negative depends on the individual. This is bad, okay? It's a bad way to write because it leads to confusing and uninteresting information. Generally speaking, humans, academics, professors, employers, colleagues don't like information that is both yes and no. Should we use this in our company? Well, it depends. It's okay if we or this or that. It's a good starting point, but at the end you have to decide whether to use it or not, right? So you have to be more pro or more con because you have to make a decision. It leads to indecision. Okay. So when you get to grade 12, when you get to college, university writing, your professors will encourage you to take a position. Okay. Again, I think there are some people on YouTube and on the internet teaching students to write "it depends" or say "it depends." I don't think that they actually learned properly the importance of what's called discourse or rhetoric in university or college. Because if they remember back to their university classes and what their professors were saying, their professors were constantly reminding them to take a position in their arguments. Okay, it's very important. MTJ, it's funny, but stay focused. Okay, it's super important that you're able to stay focused. That's right, Elizabeth. You have to choose an opinion. You have to take up position. Okay. Again, for all of our viewers that are out there, when you go to our websites, again, these are the websites that power these lessons, and you go to aehelp.com and you're wondering, okay, how to do this and what to do. Again, in your My Student account, everybody, up at the top, okay, in the blogs and forums, for those of you who haven't seen this blog yet, I really strongly encourage you to take a look at this. And by the way, for all of our viewers, you can also get our premium course through YouTube, through Shopify. You can see our products there. So if you're like, okay, I need this, I want all of this information, you can do it through YouTube also. So here, you can just kind of randomly look through, you know, what is there. You can actually see that we have the blog topics, and you have task 2 right there. Or you can just do a search and you can do task 2 essay types, for example, right? Because people know there are different types of essays. So you can search, and then there'll be lots and lots of different blog articles to help you. This last one here, I'm going to actually put this into the chat here for everybody. Okay. When you have a bit of time, check this out. So you can see here it says IELTS Task 2 Writing Questions and Answers, Band 8 to Band 9. And it gives you a very clear example of some different types of Band 8, Band 9 essays and how you can correctly achieve those scores. So go through these different question types, okay? All right, let me see if I can... There's one other one that I'm looking for here. I'm looking for, and there's lots and lots here. This is the one I'm looking for. That was one of our very, very first ones. This one, check out this one here, everybody. So this blog article is Task 2 Writing Question Types and Answer Strategies. Make sure to read this blog article to give you a really good idea of how to answer those different types of questions, like give your own opinion, or to what degree do you agree or disagree. Okay, so it's all in there. Check it out, and that's again all at aehelp.com. Okay, I just put the blog URL in the chat. So once again, for general IELTS, it's the green background. For academic, it's the blue background. Okay. Mal, no. The blogs you can check out without a premium subscription. So good question. Yeah. All right. Okay. So again, very important. And we state that in that article that you have to take a position. Okay. All right. So here is my thesis. And now we can write our introductory paragraph. So introductory paragraph has a hook, background, and thesis. Okay, so it has these three parts. All right, your introduction is not just a quick blur, because your introduction sets the foundation for your essay. Any literature or professor of English will tell you this. Anahita, a simple paraphrase of the question for the hook is not good enough. Okay. And, you know, I'm not surprised you're asking me this. I saw a lot of bad videos come out from certain instructors on YouTube these days, giving this kind of information. So the hook is not a paraphrase of the question. Examiners do not award points for simply paraphrasing the question. This is template and does not necessarily give value to the essay. Okay? And I've talked to lots of examiners and directly asked them this, like, what do you think when you see a paraphrase of the question? They go, nothing, we almost skip it. Okay? The last guy that I talked to said this. When I see, he's an IELTS examiner for 10 years. Okay? I just skip it. Okay, so they don't even really look at it. They just skip it and look right for your thesis. And if you don't have a thesis, they just start reading your body paragraph 1. Okay. So that should give you an idea of how useless just paraphrasing it is for the start. Okay. All right. Some of you are probably like, oh, really? Yeah. If they see you just saying like, something like, here's the question, right? More and more tasks. If they see you writing something like many tasks in the house and at the job are being performed by robots, they literally will just kind of stare at it. As soon as they identify that it's just a clear paraphrase, they just skip it. They won't even worry about seeing if there's mistakes or if it's accurate. Okay? They'll just kind of, it's like, oh, out the window. Okay? So your hook should be something that's interesting, that grabs the attention, that shows that you're thinking, okay? The topic in an interesting way to grab the attention of the reader, and in this case, the examiner. Okay, when it's original, you're more likely to get a better band score. So the hook should introduce the topic. The topic here are robots doing work at school or at work and at home. And it should be something interesting to grab the attention of the examiner. So let's do that. One really interesting robot that I've seen, okay, is robot security guards. Has anybody seen a robot security guard? I saw a robot parking guard or parking security with it looked like the future. It was actually a robot that was moving around the parking lot with a camera and looking to see if anybody is, you know, messing with the cars. And I'm not sure if it had like a defense system or what, but I didn't want to find out. It was a big robot. So yeah, there's my hook. Flong says, yes, sir. I guess you've seen it too, Flong. Right? They don't tell you if they can like actually zap you or something like that. Like, I think they might have like a shocking device. That is not your vehicle. It's what? It is my car. Hopefully they don't malfunction. Okay, so robot security guards can now be seen working in banks and parking lots, right? And I think a lot of people are starting to see these. So they're like, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of space age, right? When you read this, and you know, again, it's not like you have to believe Adrian or the other guy or the other girl on YouTube. You just have to use your logic, right? So think about it. So when you are measuring the quality of writing, just think logically. Is this good? Is this interesting for me? Would I continue to read and enjoy this article? Right? So again, good writing will be good on its own without knowing who wrote it. Okay, so good writing is good because it's good writing. It's not good writing because somebody told you to paraphrase the question for the introduction, or because I told you to write an interesting hook that captures the audience. It's good because it works, because the reader thinks, hey, this is good, right? If you just paraphrase the question and just read that, is it good writing? Do you feel like you're having fun or you're excited to read it? In many cases, for me, no, it just seems really dry and boring, right? So good writing has its own merit, all right? And if I read an article that starts this way, robot security guards can now be seen working in banks and parking lots, I can be like, hey, yeah, I saw that. And that was really creepy and weird. What are these guys going to write about this? Or what is this girl going to write about this, right? So I keep reading. It captures me. That's the goal of the hook, right? To capture your reader. And it's not long. Look, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 words. It's a short sentence. Okay, average sentences are around 18 to 20. So 13 words, short sentence, works. It introduces the topic. Why? Because it's a robot that is working. It's taking the job of a security guard who would be working at the bank or at the, at the parking lot, right? Exactly, Anahita. So this surprises the examiner. The examiner goes, oh, that's interesting. I see. Where's he going with this? Okay. And then the background, all right? Nowadays, more and more machines can be observed taking over tasks both at home and in the workplace. Okay, all right, and this is changing society, or societies around the world. Okay, so the background is the definition and the importance. So the background, and some of you are realizing, oh, so the background is the paraphrase. Yeah, kind of. So the background is where you do a bit more of that boring paraphrasing. You've caught your reader, so the fish is on. Right, they're on. You've caught them. They're not going to go away easily now. That's the goal of the hook. That's why it's called the hook, right? The hook. Now they're reading, right? So unless you make a lot of terrible mistakes and make it really confusing, then they go and they swim away. But as long as you're staying focused and staying with the topic, they're on the hook. They want to see what you wrote, okay? So now you give them the background, and the background is kind of like the paraphrase, right? Okay. And then you have a band 9 start. Okay. You've answered all of the question, all of the primary question in the introduction, and now you go into details. All right. You don't just write a simple introduction where in the real world, a reader simply wouldn't even continue when they see your introduction. You write a good introduction, you set a strong foundation, and then you get into the body paragraphs. For those of you who want good scores on your IELTS exam, that's what you need to do. Okay? All right? So let's write together, and Domenico, I see that you're doing that. So Domenico writes, while there are some concerns about job displacement and too much resilience on automation and machines, I believe it is a positive progress because robots boost productivity and help people save time. That's good, Domenico. Just make sure that you're clearly able to separate boost productivity and save time, because in my world, those two are very much the same. Okay? So be careful. In good writing, you have to have clearly distinct points. And while you might be able to get away with that in your IELTS exam, if that is not clearly separated in your piece in university, your professor will catch you on that and they will say, these are the same ideas. You're repeating them. Okay? So Domenico says, okay. All right. So now I write body paragraph 1. And again, for those of you who are joining in, this is a question that appeared, or a similar question that appeared in IELTS just recently in the last couple of weeks. So body 1, what should I write about? What should body 1 be about? Okay. How should I do this? So look at my thesis. Robots free time and energy for humans that allow people to spend that time and energy in positive or negative ways. Angel says you could write about the workplace. We could, Angel. We could definitely write about the workplace. So we could write body 1 about the workplace, and then body 2 about the home. Right? Absolutely, Angel, we could do it in that way. Or we could do body 1. And then for this style, we could start by starting with a negative and then finish with positive. Okay, same thing here. Why? Because we are arguing the positive side. Okay, so we could do it that way. Or we could do body 1. Workplace and home negative, and body 2 workplace and home positive. Okay, and then the conclusion. So there's definitely more than one way to skin the cat, as that weird idiom goes. It means there are more ways to achieve a good essay. It's up to you, the writer, to make the decision of how you structure your essay. IELTS does not tell you that you have to write it in this way or in this way. Okay? It's up to you to do that, to make that decision. Now, here, which one am I going to choose? So let's call this one. What do you think? What do you think? Think like Adrian moment. Doesn't mean you have to do it like me in this case, but which one do you think I will choose? So let's say that this is A and this is B. So will I choose A, write body paragraph about the workplace, negatives then positives, or and then B, home negative and positive, or body 1, workplace, home negative, and then the same positive? What do you think? Habibe says, I think you're going to write B. Okay, Anahita says, the second structure is better because we should write about the part we support later. Yeah, you're right, everybody. So actually, A is not bad either. So Angel, I challenge you, and for some of you who would like to try that, I definitely challenge you to write it in that way. So Angel says A. No, I would choose B, Angel, personally, but I do think that you could write a band 9 essay with A also, okay? As long as the positive is second, because that's the side I support. So in this case, where body 1 starts with just the workplace and then goes to positive, it finishes on positive. And here it finishes on positive as well. So it could still be a very powerful essay with very good structure and coherence and clarity. Okay. The reason I would choose this style, so I would choose B, is because the focus is not so much on the workplace and the home, but the focus is more on the impact of robots. That's number one reason for it. And number two is I feel that it's easier to emphasize the positive side and to be more convincing for your reader, because ultimately your goal is to convince your reader. Guess what a band 9 essay is? A band 9 essay, simply put, is a powerful piece of writing that can effectively convince the examiner that you have a very good answer and argument for the task 2 question. In English, of course, right? So it's not rocket science. You know, I think a lot of people who sit the IELTS exam, they have so many tips and so many strategies and ideas that they eventually actually lose the simple concept of task 2, which is just write a really good essay that convinces your reader on that answer. Does that make sense, everybody? So you could literally take the writing that you have, your task 2, give it to your friend, give it to your sister, your brother, and say, here's an essay I wrote about robots. Can you read it and tell me what you think? And if they read, and don't even tell them it's for IELTS. Don't tell them it's for school. Just say you had some fun and you wrote an essay. That's what you're doing these days. You wrote this essay. And if they read it and they go, wow, that was a really good essay. I really enjoyed reading that. It's great. If they're like, oh, that was boring. Probably not a band 9. If they're like, that was really confusing, maybe a band 4, right? So it's not rocket science. Does that make sense? Like, you're really just convincing your reader, right, in English. And if it's effective in doing that, it's a band 9. If it's pretty good, it's a band 8. If it's okay, it's a band 7. If it's so-so, it's a band 6. If it's kind of like, what was that? It's a band 5. If it's like, I'm confused, it's a band 4. If it's like, I couldn't really read it, it's a band 3. And if it's like, what was that? It's a band 2. And if it's like, there's nothing on the paper, it's a band 1. Okay? It's kind of how it works. if you want the really kind of colloquial, simple way of looking at it. Okay? Just like in university, just like in high school. All right, so I'm going to go with this one. So the negative in the workplace and at the home, and then the positive. Okay, so I'm going to go with that approach. Okay. All right. So there are certainly some deficits for people when robots take over their responsibilities at the office or at home. Namely, the loss of income and effort. All right, so there is my topic sentence. And again, lots of ways to do this. So here I'm showing, it's called the counter argument structure, where I'm showing what the people who think this is a negative will state. So there are certainly some deficits for people when robots take over their responsibilities at the office or at home, namely the loss of income and effort. Millions of cashiers have lost their jobs to automated tellers, and this has led to unemployment in this service sector. In addition, people have become more sedentary and obese as they use the extra time created by robot vacuum cleaners and washing machines to watch TV shows, eat chips, and drink beer. Not you, though, Amra, right? And not those of us who are using that time for the benefit, okay, of our future. All right. So I have a few friends that definitely seem to do this too often. Okay, a little piece just as an example to show that part of the essay, right? I was like, all right. Okay, so there are certainly some deficits for people when robots take over their responsibilities at the office or at home, namely the loss of income and effort. Millions of cashiers have lost their jobs to automated tellers, and this has led to unemployment in this service sector. In addition, people have become more sedentary and obese as they use the extra time created by robot vacuum cleaners and washing machines to watch TV shows, eat chips, and drink beer. I have a few friends that definitely seem to do this too often. Okay, connecting sentence. Nevertheless, the overall impact of robot assistance has a positive impact on the development of humanity. Okay, and now I jump into body 2, which is my positive side. It's the side that I support more, right? Okay. And then I do the same. So continue writing. And members, please keep in mind what I often say in these classes, that I don't expect you to keep the same speed as me when I start to write these paragraphs. And you don't have to be writing body paragraph 2 right now. You can write the introduction. You can write the background. You can write the topic sentence of body paragraph 1. What's really important is that you're both listening and doing. Don't just learn passively in these classes, everybody. Learn actively, okay? This is for all the viewers out there, so learn actively. It's very important. All right. MTJ, no, there's half bands in the IELTS. So it's band 1 to 9 with half bands. So you can look at the IELTS exam as 18 possible scores. It's a score of 1 to, well, I've never seen a 0.5 band. I'll be honest with you about that. But if we look at 0 to 9 with half bands, then it's actually 20, right? 0.51, 1.52, 2.5, all the way to 9. So it's actually 20 possible points. Is the way to look at it, right? Okay. So, but I've never seen a half. I've never seen a 0.5. Okay. All right. Domenico for the background says, in our rapidly advancing society, the integration of automated systems is becoming increasingly prevalent, assisting individuals in their household chores and simplifying their daily life both at home and in the workplace. Domenico, that is good. Little bit of repetition. Let me fix that for you before I get into body paragraph 2. See, so Domenico's paying attention. Of course he is, because he has an exam coming up, right? It's one way to put fire under your tuchus. All right. You got to sit an exam the next few days. Okay, so let me clean this up a bit. All right, Domenico, let me fix this a little bit. You've got a little bit of a mistake here. Let me show you what that is, okay? Pay attention to this, and at home when you're practicing, always review your essays so you can find these kinds of mistakes. So notice here, Domenico says, in our rapidly advancing society, the integration of automated systems is becoming increasingly prevalent, assisting individuals in their household chores and simplifying their daily life, both at home and in the workplace. What do you think is going to be my correction here for Domenico? Okay. Fuang, the thesis, although the prevalence of using robots for both household chores and work have been a concern for decades, I strongly believe, don't use the word reckon, Fuang, that the advancements of robots is beneficial for human life. Yeah, students, I don't recommend using the word reckon. Reckon is, it's most common in the southern US to use that word. It's actually a fairly awkward word for a lot of English dialects to use reckon. It's not if you're in Texas, but in many other parts of the world, it's quite awkward. Okay, Domenico, very good. I love how you identified your own mistake. Domenico says I should simplify that a little bit, especially at the end here. Yeah, you have some repetitions. Household chores is the same as at home, Domenico. So it's wordy, right? Okay. In their household chores and in the workplace. That's all you need, Domenico. Okay. You just said the same as before, but without forcing your reader into a repetitive extra 30% in the phrase. Okay. All right. Now I see lots of you writing. Amra, you're writing as well. Good. Nice. Okay. Okay. Let me write a bit of body paragraph 2, and then I will take a closer look at some of your writing as well. Okay. So here we go. Body 2, workplace, home, positive. All right. So, robots at home and in the workplace have freed up millions of hours of time and kilojoules of energy that humans can now invest into other fruitful efforts to advance humanity. Now I'm going to make some corrections here. Okay. Topic sentences and thesis statements are often where you want to do most of your reviewing and corrections. If you have, or when you have, accurate thesis and topic sentences, the essay will usually work. Okay, if you have some mistakes in the explanations, examples, it's not the end of the world, but having mistakes in your thesis and topic sentences leads to a lot of confusion. That's a very important tip. Keep that in mind, okay? So when you're reviewing and when you're correcting, okay, keep this in mind. This is a really important tip, okay? I'll put it here. So review especially your thesis, that's the most important, and your topic sentences for clarity and accuracy, as these are the most important for good coherence. Now, ideally, the whole essay should be accurate, right? But it's these ones here especially. Okay, everybody got that? That's definitely a thumbs up one. Okay, it's a very important tip. People are like, oh, what should I review? Review your thesis, review your topic sentence. If you got a good thesis, if you've got good topic sentences in your body paragraph, the examiner generally will not be too confused. Okay. All right, I see some hearts flying, so that's a good sign. All right, so robots at home and in the workplace have freed up millions of hours And we don't need of time because hours, and kilojoules. We don't need of energy because we have that. That instead of humans, I'm going to say people can now invest into other fruitful efforts to advance humanity. Okay. What should I do now? What do you think? Okay. Hint, everybody. Keep your first body paragraph in mind. Yes, it's important to use words like therefore and in addition and furthermore and moreover to make your essay flow. Those connectives are good. However, the most important point to remember for good writing is connected information. Okay, and you've got that here in a brilliant way. You'll see in just a moment. So what should I write? I'm sure some of you will realize, yeah, that would be a really good way to connect this essay. Okay, so this is another important tip. Okay, although words like furthermore, moreover, in addition, are good connectives, the most important is to remember that content connects ideas and information the best. Okay, at university level writing, and many of you will discover this once you start doing, especially master's and doctorate students, when you're doing your writing, the professors, the supervisors, they're not huge fans of words like moreover or furthermore. They kind of feel those are wasting space and time. They really want you to just focus on information, connecting information. Okay, all right. MTJ, the most fatal flaws that a lot of people make in these essays is they write a template. So they follow these YouTube videos and other, instructions where they tell them, paraphrase the question for the introduction, then say, in this essay, I will discuss this and this. And then in the part one, just give a quick explanation and then write in conclusion. And those essays, especially when they have spelling mistakes and other mistakes, they tend to perform poorly, like band 5, 5.5. Okay, all right. So those ones. Okay, now here, let's see. Body 1, what did I write? So always think about your structure, right? So body 1, I wrote topic, sentence, explanations, examples. So here, there are certainly some deficits for people when robots take over their responsibilities at the office or at home, namely the loss of income and effort. Millions of cashiers have lost their jobs to automated tellers, and this led to unemployment in the service sector. In addition, people have become more sedentary and obese as they use the extra time created by robot vacuum cleaners and washing machines to watch TV shows, eat chips, and drink beer. Okay, so I've already created this image, this vision, right, in the mind of the reader, in the mind of the examiner. Okay, so the examiner is picturing this. Your reader's seeing this. Your reader's seeing themselves go through the robot checkout at the store and thinking, oh, that poor young girl that used to work here and make her allowance money for school and such, and she doesn't have a job anymore. Snaps, these evil robots, right? So we've already created this concept in the reader's mind. Now it's time to turn it around, right? Because our argument is the positive. So this is what we do. We go, robots at home and in the workplace have freed up millions of hours in kilojoules that people can now invest into other fruitful effort to advance in humanity. Shoppers around the world are no longer standing in 20-minute queues to go home with groceries thanks to robot checkouts. Once home, they do not need to spend an hour washing clothes by hand. So they can take this extra 90 minutes in the day and learn a new skill like cooking delicious food, or just spend the time playing with their children. I can attest that this has been true in my life, and I live a happier and healthier and I feel much more satisfied as a result. Okay? So here it's again the content, right? So you notice how I simply took my body paragraph 2 and I turned it into a very positive, I took my body paragraph 1 and I turned it into a very positive body paragraph 2. So now the reader, instead of feeling sorry for that young boy or that young guy or whoever it is, cashier not having a job, they're thinking, oh yeah, okay, it's too bad for them, but think about me and all those other shoppers who are saving those hundreds and hundreds of hours, and they have just way more life satisfaction and time to grow and develop as humans, right? Especially when we choose these positive activities with that extra time and energy, right? Did anybody get that? So when you read these paragraphs together, let's read them together. Do you get that feeling? Like, do you feel like, oh yeah, I get why this person likes robots? So let's read it. There are certainly, well, let's read it with a thesis, right? Robots free time and energy for humans that allow people to spend that energy and time in either positive or negative ways. Overall, I do believe that machine assistance is a beneficial, let's paraphrase here, beneficial progress both at work and in the home. There are certainly some deficits for people when robots take over their responsibilities at the office or at home, namely the loss of income and effort. Millions of cashiers have lost their jobs to automated tellers, and this has led to unemployment in this service sector. In addition, people have become more sedentary and obese as they use the extra time created by robot vacuum cleaners and washing machines to watch TV shows, eat chips, and drink beer. I have a few friends that definitely seem to do this too often. Nevertheless, the overall impact of robot assistance has a positive impact on the development of humanity. Robots at home and in the workplace have freed up millions of hours and kilojoules that people can now invest into other fruitful efforts to advance humanity. Shoppers around the world are no longer standing in 20-minute queues. Queues means lines, by the way, in British English. To go home with groceries thanks to robot checkouts. Once home, they do not need to spend an hour washing clothes by hand, so they can take this extra 90 minutes in the day and learn a new skill like cooking delicious food or just spending the time playing with their children. I can attest that this has been true in my life, and I feel much more satisfied as a result. Okay. All right. MTJ says, general information, example, my own thoughts in the matter. This is the skeleton. In some sense, yes, MTJ, but that is a bit of an oversimplification. So be careful. All right. Conclusion. All right. The conclusion will have your points restated, your argument strengthened, And it will have a take-home message. Okay, it has these 3 elements. For the IELTS exam, start with in conclusion. Okay. Now, Elizabeth says, pretty good. Exactly. And I mean, it can be better. Here we're just writing a 250, 300-word essay that's good enough for a band 9. Okay. Obviously, when you're writing a university caliber piece, you're going to have to take extra steps, thinking deeper, further, more, and also, of course, getting some research to support your opinions, right? Okay. Yes, MTJ, another way you could say that is you need a strong foundation before you add the layers, of course. Otherwise, it's just a big jelly of flesh. Okay. All right. So in conclusion, robots are becoming prevalent. Prevalent means popular in the workforce and in the home. And their impacts can be viewed as both positive and negative. I definitely believe that the world is a better place with the assistance of machines. And then here's my take-home message. Ultimately, it is up to humans to use the extra time and energy provided by machines to make good decisions and use these wisely. Okay? This is my argument strengthened. Okay, so the conclusion is not just a repeat of your introduction. That's another kind of lower level writing advice. So that's how students start to learn about the conclusion, is it's kind of like the introduction. That's the way the conclusion is introduced in grade 8, grade 9 English class. And then as students become better and better writers, once they start to get to grade 11, grade 12, the teachers start explaining that a good conclusion does more than just the introduction. It leaves the reader, or in this case the examiner, with a valuable piece of information. Okay. All right. So here, in conclusion, robots are becoming prevalent in the workforce and in the home, and their impacts can be viewed as both positive and negative. I definitely believe that the world is a better place with the assistance of machines. Ultimately, it is up to humans to use the extra time and energy provided by machines to make good decisions and use these wisely. I don't really like that last little bit, so I'm going to do a little correction there just to make it a little bit more coherent. Extra time and energy provided by machines to make. And this is where we can be more concise. So right now, I think, who is asking me this? Somebody's asking, can I do a word count? And I will. At home, what you want to do is you want to be more concise. So what you want to do at this point is take a look at the essay, and especially if you have a lot of words, then you want to be more concise. So you want to shorten. But let's see how many words we have here. Okay. And I'll take out all the extra words this time so we get an exact number. Okay, so I'm going to try to see if I can. I can't. Okay, well, let's just say there's about 20 of those words within. So that's about 340 words. Okay. So that's roughly 340 words. Band 9. That's about right. So if you're between 300, 350 words in the 40 minutes and you have this level of writing, that's about what a band 8, band 9 will be. Okay, so that's correct. It shouldn't be more than that. So if you're over 350, you should be thinking, how can I make this a bit more concise? Where's some unnecessary words or information? Okay, so this is about 340. Keep in mind, students, TOEFL, if you're doing the TOEFL exam or if you're ever thinking about that one, it's actually 350 word minimum. 300 or 350 word minimum, right? So, okay, so that's about 340. Okay, which is 90 over the minimum, and yeah, for Band 8, Band 9, that's not uncommon. Okay, I did the IELTS exam, I wrote 500, that was too much. I should have written shorter, more concise essay. Okay, so there you have it. There's the essay. I will be posting some of these essays on our YouTube channel and also on the website that I was showing you. Remember, everybody, on the website, in the blog, there were all those task 2 essays. Right? So a lot of these essays that you see in these classes, you can read the planning, and then of course we even put a fun picture in there for you, and then you can read these. So you can read the introduction and so on. And again, these are all in the blog on the website, so you can get access to the premium materials by clicking the big red button that's just right above my head there. So click that. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. And you can also get it through YouTube, through Shopify as well. Keep that in mind, everybody. For general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. Task 2 will be very similar in the course and in the examples in these two versions of IELTS, because Task 2 is very similar between academic and general. Okay. All right. Anahita is asking for more Task 1 lessons. I will do my best, Anahita. You're very welcome, Elizabeth. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. Good questions, MTJ, today. Thank you, Umra, for being a good sport about the whole drinking beer, watching TV bit. Carolina, thanks for moderating and helping and assisting. Students, check out aehelp.com when you get a minute. Check out gieltshelp.com. Join our premium IELTS. People who do never regret it. So people are like, oh, that was great. It was a really good investment. And learn. I'll be back in 30 minutes with reading. We're going to do a bit of reading next. So that will be a subscribers chat class. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can join the chat. That is free. Okay, coming up in half an hour. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out for now from Victoria, Canada, and I hope to see you in 30 minutes for IELTS reading. Bye, everybody.